the whole time it wasn't recording. Oh, I hate myself sometimes. Okay, so it's a little loud, so I'm gonna be going upstairs to record this. So it's been a while since I've sat at a table like this where I'm sitting on the floor. Yeah, I'm going real traditional today. Okay, so now that we're here and settling in, today's topic is gonna be about living abroad and what it's been like for the past year. I've been in Mexico City for just over a year. I'll wait till the food comes out before I really get into it, but it has been quite a ride. Let's just put it that way. Today I'm here at Goyangjip, and it's known to be one of the more traditional, authentic places here. So I'm really excited because that's the kind of Korean food I really enjoy. Okay, una 육개장 y sin cebolla, por favor.
Sin cebolla.
Sí, sin cebolla, cebollín y 물냉면.
육개장 y 물냉면.
Sí, gracias. So 육개장, I don't know why that's not as popular. I think it's because people don't really know about it. It's just a spicy stew with meat in it. So, so hearty, so savory. And I'm going to touch on moving abroad, but also moving abroad in my 40s, which was very different when I moved from LA to New York in my 20s. It's something that I always knew I wanted to do. I fantasized about flitting off abroad and not knowing the language and learning the language and making friends and creating a new life, and that was the dream. Oh, that kimchi looks amazing. So yeah, I was fantasizing about it, and then I just knew when the time came I would take the opportunity, and I did, and that was at the age of 41. I'm 42 now. Let's try the kimchi actually. I'm really curious. Oh, some good ass kimchi. Wow. Wow. Gracias.
Sí, de nada.
I just took a bite of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, each of the 7 banchan, and each were bomb. So let's start with Mexico. Why Mexico? So 2020 happened. As we all know, we were there for that. After that, I just started to realize that I may want a change. I was living in New York for 15 years at the time. I had a comfortable life. I knew the city. I had friends. I had a great job, and I just was really comfortable. And that's probably why I felt like I was ready for a change. I wasn't running from anything. In fact, everything was so great, and I'd even met somebody a few months before I was slated to go. And it was just the timing of it all. Like, I was ready for a big change. And, you know, having moved to New York in my 20s and gone through just the most significant experience of my life, the most life-changing, the most growth I'd ever experienced, and I wanted to do it again. And I didn't know when and where. I just knew that I was ready for it around that time. And so then, yeah, fast forward to 2022 when I went for my birthday surf retreat thing in Mexico, Puerto Escondido, and I stopped in Mexico City to meet a friend, and it was just beautiful. But the thought had not even occurred to me to move. I was just gonna go on that trip. I met somebody in Mexico City, and so I came back with this person a couple months later for a month. And one of the ways that I knew that I was really, really falling in love with the city was when I was walking around alone and just feeling so at ease, learning the language and finding that so beautiful. And it just started to kind of sink in that I was like, is this the place I'm supposed to go? So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I was like, all right, so I'm ready. And so I set a date 6 months from that point, and that was it. So that's why I came to Mexico. But you know what, let's wait till the food gets here and we'll get into my first month. And, oh, sí, gracias. Ah, perfecto, gracias.
¿Aquí está bien?
Sí, sí. ¿Cómo se dice?
¿Vinagre?
Sí, sí, sí. Gracias. This looks amazing. This looks so good. Here, here, take a look. All right, I am pumped for this. There's even more kimchi. I don't even know where to start. Okay, I'll start with the cold since this is gonna cool off. So vinegar. Spicy mustard. Okay. Wow. All right, moment of truth. Let's try this out. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, way too hot. Way too hot. Not ready. Let's go back to the cold noodles. So getting back into the story, where did I leave off? That first month was actually kind of fun. I had a very, very full social calendar. I had friends that I'd met in the previous trips in Mexico, so they met up with me. I was just busy getting settled in and just like that initial excitement of being somewhere new. And you're already kind of riding that high of that fantasy that you're, you know, what you think it's gonna be. So that first month was great. But it's months 2, 3, maybe 4 when things got dark. You know, friendships that you make, especially when you're my age and in your 40s, I think you start to realize how selective you are with who you let into your life. I really missed my friends, and I knew the loneliness was going to hit. I mean, everyone knows. It's no secret that when you move abroad, that's the hardest part, is the loneliness. And then it's the language barrier, which adds to the loneliness. When you move abroad and you're trying to make friends, you start to really understand like what your threshold is and where you fit in and how hard it is to fit in. Okay, let's see if this is ready now. Wow, that is delicious. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, that might still be too hot. So there's like veggies, noodles, egg, beef. Oh man, amazing. Oh. Not ready, not ready. So yeah, the first group of friends that I made, they were all Mexican. And things just got a little weird. I went from hanging out with them all the time to like suddenly not after like a month and a half. And so having missed my friends so much, and then having a falling out, a weird passive aggressive falling out with this other group, feeling really frustrated with the language barrier and me not being able to learn Spanish fast enough, all compounded into this just, oh my God, I was so depressed. And I didn't realize until I was walking. I think I was just like walking from an errand. And it had been so long since I've been in public where I all of a sudden just needed to cry. And I'm talking floodgates cry. I was fighting to keep these tears in, like bubbling up, and I was like, okay, I just started jogging back to my place. Got home and barely got through the door before I just broke down. I cried for maybe 4 hours. There were some breaks in between, but I really had to let it out. And I realized how hard everything was gonna be. That was the moment where I was like, this is gonna be fucking hard. Oh, also my apartment was terrible. When you're moving somewhere and you haven't seen your apartment, I mean, it's a scary thing, and because things like this happen where your apartment can end up being a nightmare. And mine was. It was in a great neighborhood, and actually the Airbnb reviews were awesome. So I thought this was like a steal. And turns out the walls were insanely thin. So I was kept up all night, all morning, knew every single conversation, allergy, whatever all the neighbors around me had. And I just would sit there looking out the window and just hearing all these noises, having no friends, not being able to speak the language, and just feeling so lost and alone. So yeah, those were really hard months. So months 5 to 7 got easier, and I got into routine, and I was able to move out of that apartment and into a better place because I was getting more familiar with the neighborhoods. Things were easier, but it wasn't what I expected it to be. None of it was. I thought I was going to be so inspired and working on all of these projects that I set up for myself to grow my content and my YouTube and all of that stuff. No, I was just trying to get by. And and it wasn't until month 9 when I had the breakthrough. On one of my trips back home to New York, I had been looking forward to that trip for so long because I missed New York so much. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go back and it's gonna be this amazing reunion. Everything fell apart. And actually I have to put that episode together because I documented that. Something that I didn't mention is that I am a drinker. I am a functioning alcoholic. It's very cultural because in Korean culture, drinking is a big part of it. And I am not a problematic drinker in that I never get emotional or angry. I actually just get happy. I don't get hungover. And it doesn't affect my work or my friendships or relationships and so on and so forth. So I drink a lot. I'm talking every night, often by myself because I love drinking by myself. It's so much fun. But it's a problem. It was a problem. And I was drinking so much while I was in New York. And there was one night that I left my bag with $700 in cash, a new pocket camera, the one I'm using right now, keys to my friend's apartment, and there was something else in there and I completely forgot what, but doesn't matter. I left it because I was fucking wasted. I didn't even know the next morning, and I'm 41 years old at this point. I should not be doing that. And then kind of went through the 2 weeks in New York, and when I got back to Mexico City, I was like the lowest of the low. I mean, New York didn't feel like home. Mexico City didn't feel like home. Everything was such a mess. And then everything changed. After that, I decided, okay, I'm gonna get my shit together. So I did. I stopped drinking. Like, I drink socially now, but I never drink at home alone. I became laser focused on my content work and really, really invested real time into it because that's what you have to do if you want to succeed. I stopped dating the men in my life. I had several. Not because I think it's bad to do that. I just didn't have the bandwidth anymore. I didn't want to give any more of myself to people that I didn't really want to invest in because I had so much on my plate already that I had no time or energy to give to anyone else. I got my shit together and started to really reflect and rethink my priorities, and I didn't even do this as like a conscious thing. It just was happening from that point. So the first 6 to 9 months I was going through a lot and was my mess and trying to figure it out, and then from that 9-month point to now, the changes, the growth, I mean, all of it, it's just unfucking believable. I strongly believe if I never made this move and had gone through the things that I've gone through and experienced these challenges, I would not have made this much progress on myself. I wouldn't have. If I had stayed in New York, I absolutely would not have done the work that I needed to do. And then this one big thing is opening up. And then and I can't even say this because it's so hard for me to talk about something so personal, but one of the big steps that I've made towards my growth is opening myself up to a relationship. And I'm gonna save that for a totally different conversation and video, but I have been so adamant about being on my own, staying independent, not needing anyone. I'm so protective of my autonomy, my independence. I have been so against being in a relationship to the point that I almost let somebody go. It was just really, really great for me. Anyway, so I realized I was opening myself up to that, and that is part of the reason why I am leaving. I'm leaving in a month and a half from now. It's big. I am just starting to get my bearings here and having a routine. I have some friends, but there are also other reasons that I'm leaving, not just this relationship. It is the right time for me. Even though I'm not staying here, even though it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to, I thought it was gonna work out, let me tell you, invaluable of an experience. And I knew that Mexico wasn't the fantasy. The fantasy was me leaving and going somewhere, uprooting my life, going through these uncomfortable changes and forcing this growth on me because I'm gonna grow. And I fucking did. And it's never too late for that kind of growth, and I'm gonna go through this again. I know it. I know I'm always gonna be evolving. I'm always gonna be growing and trying to be better. But this amount of growth that I've experienced in the past 6 months never experienced anything like it before. And I'm so, so grateful. I'm so glad that I did this. So if you've been thinking about moving abroad, I think you should do it. But just be aware that it is not what you see in the movies or even on social media. It's definitely glamorized as fuck. But if you really want to experience something that's going to really cause you to get out of your comfort zone and create real growth, do it for sure. Because you're going to come out of it and you're going to be like, damn, like I learned so much. Even if it means that you're not cut out to live abroad, that's still a big lesson to be learned. I'm really glad that I did this. And I'm excited for what's to come. Okay, so that wraps up this chat. Thanks for joining me. Again, feel free to comment below, and if there's a topic that you'd like me to touch on, let me know. But yeah, till next time, see ya.